Hello there, this is Josh Hendry here with another drawing tutorial. Today we're going to do a quick demonstration using Turpenoid and colored pencils. I use Prismacolor colored pencils, and that's pretty important for this process. And the reason being is the way that Prismacolors hold their pigment together is with a waxy kind of substance that the Turpenoid does a good job of dissolving. So I believe you can also use mineral spirits or like turpentine, but this is odorless, and I enjoy using that because it's easier. I just use a little Gatorade lid to hold it, and then I also have an additional kind of base here. This is a cup holder that I use, and the reason why I do that is because this is exceptionally slippery kind of stuff, meaning that it will drip and it just finds a way to get all over everything. So that's kind of why I've done that. It's sort of like a double form of protection to just not get it on my drawing surface. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this in the cup there. I didn't want to do that over the drawing, but there it is in the cup. And then I use a Q-tip actually to apply it. I find that works better. I also have these little kind of these blenders that you can get very inexpensively at most art supply stores. I use this for really tight areas, but it doesn't hold much Turpenoid, so main thing I use are Q-tips. And I've already put a layer of Prismacolor down here, and you don't have to be super even with your shading with your Prismacolor, but it does help just to make this spread easier. So what I've done, kind of dipped my Q-tip here in the Turpenoid, and this is going to not only affect the colored pencil that's already down, but a little bit of this Turpenoid soaks into the page, and you'll notice that the Prismacolors behave a little bit differently when you come back on top of what's already been used with Turpenoid, or has already had, I don't know how to say that. But at any rate, because this solvent is here on the page, when you come back with your colored pencil, you'll notice that it kind of cuts through the colored pencil as you're shading on top of it. And that's kind of interesting. It helps you put down more color, but it also can affect sort of how much you need to put down and everything. So you can see I use a cold pressed board, and so it's nice to have this to help fill in the white areas without having to burnish it. Burnishing is just a process of pressing down really hard until you get all the white spots to be filled in. And I like the textured paper because it holds more color, so I can do layer after layer, and that just allows me to blend colors and gives it a really rich feel. The harder pressed or the cold pressed boards really don't have the tooth to hold layer after layer after layer of colored pencil, and that's why I use the cold pressed. I know that some people feel like the surface is a little too rough to be able to use, but I think for me and just my passion for layering and getting deep colors, it works exceptionally well. So you can totally see a difference here, and I'm going to go ahead and time lapse the rest of this so you can just see how the whole thing will look once I've completely used the Turpenoid on the background. Alright, so there you go. That's kind of the initial layer for the background. You can tell it has a beautiful effect. It almost feels like a faux finish or something like that. and softens up the colored pencil, blends it together nicely, just gives you a really cool effect. There are a little bit of watercolor feel to it, just a little bit, which is nice, and I've actually compared watercolors to this, and just to kind of, and I may do a video on that later. Let me know if that would interest you. But yeah, I've kind of compared which one I prefer, this or do I prefer watercolor, and I think each one kind of has its own merits for different applications, but definitely a nice additional effect you can get with your colored pencils. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like it if you like it and share it if you love it.